Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Tasmin Mahabhagavate Mahabhagi Mahatmani Hiranyakasipu Rajan Akarut Agamatmaje Tasmin Mahabhagavate Mahabhaga Mahatmani Hiranyakasipu Rajan Akarut Agamatmaje
Tasmin Mahabhagavate Mahabhage Mahatmani Hiranyakashipu Rajan Akarod Akam Atmaje Tasmin Mahabhagavate Mahabhage Mahatmani Hiranyakashipu Rajan Akarod Akam Atmaje Tasmin Mahabhagavate.
I have little time today, ladies.
Tasmin Mahabhagavate
Tasmin Mahabhagavate
Mahabhaga Mahatmani
Mahabhage Mahatmani
Hiranyakashipu Rajan
Hiranyakashipu Rajan
Akarodagamatmaje
Tasmin Mahabhagavate
Tasmin Mahabhagavate
Mahabhage Mahatmane
Mahabhage Mahatmani
Hiranyakasipu Rajan
Hiranyakashipu Rajan
Akrod Agam Atmaje
Akarod Agam Atmaje
Tasmin, unto him, Mahabhagavate, an exalted devotee of the Lord. Mahabhage, most fortunate. Mahatmane, whose mind was very broad. Hiranyakasipu, the demon Hiranyakasipu. Rajan, O king. Akarut, performed. Agam, very great sin. Atmaje, to his own son. Translation: My dear King Yudhisthira, the demon Hiranyakasipu tormented this exalted, fortunate devotee, although Prahlad was his only son. Purport: When a demon like Hiranyakasipu, despite his elevated position, due to severe austerities, begins to tease a devotee, he begins falling down, and the results of his austerities dwindle. One who oppresses a pure devotee loses all the results of his austerities, penances, and pious activities. Since Hiranyakasipu is now inclined to chastise his most exalted devotee son, Prahlad Maharaj, his opulences began dwindling. Om Ajnana-Timirandasya Gnana Salakya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamyam Dadati Swapadantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yeah. The Srimad Bhagwatam is pure and transcendental knowledge. And this knowledge is received in different ways by different people. For a demon, this knowledge is like a thunderbolt. It chisels at his heart because it contradicts everything he's doing. So when such a person sees Bhagwatam, this is rubbish. This is rubbish. That doesn't make sense because it's exactly opposing to what he wants to do. For one who is more open-minded and looking for knowledge, the Bhagwatam is like a light in darkness. It brings light, it brings insight, it brings knowledge. Wow, I never thought of this. For a devotee who actually accepts Srimad Bhagwatam, the Bhagwatam are like the reins that steer a horse, because Bhagwatam becomes the guiding principle in our life, in the life of a devotee. For a advanced devotee, the Bhagwatam is a means to go deeper and deeper into an ocean of transcendental nectar. And that is, sometimes it is said that Bhagavatam is 99% for relishing. So that is the situation. So with my little metaphor, I have kind of shown different ways that we can relate to Srimad Bhagavatam. And for most of us, Srimad Bhagavatam should at least be like the reins that guide our life. And we should adjust our life according to the standards of Bhagavatam. Therefore, we are using Srimad Bhagavatam to have a look at ourselves. We use it like a mirror, in a way, introspection through Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, if we are just reading this narrative about Hiranyakasipu and we go, oh, that Hiranyakasipu, such a demon, and Prahlad, such a devotee, such a story, nice. But that doesn't take it very far. But when we start to apply it to ourselves, and we start to actually look at where am I? More on the Prahlad side or more on the Hiranyakasipu side? That is the kind of approach that will help us. And here we see how Hiranyakasipu could not appreciate a devotee. And that Hiranyakasipu did not understand that everything in the universe is ultimately depending on blessings. You have these people who claim, I am a self-made man. I started with nothing. I built up this entire empire from scratch. I am a self-made man. Nobody gave me nothing. So, not understanding the power of blessings. The power of blessings that simply due to piety in a previous life, success came in this life. That success does not depend on hard labor. Hard labor may be one thing, but without the blessings as a result of piety, or without the blessings of the devotee, which is the greatest blessing, no success is attained. So, this is a deep spiritual principle, the power of blessings. And that is very much inherent in Vedic culture. And therefore in India today, that is still a big thing. People don't follow so much anymore, in terms of standards and this and that. But blessings everyone wants. people have some sense of the power of blessings. Like for example here, if a couple has no child, they go through so many tests, they take hormones, they test tube babies, and I don't know what is all going on there. But many things are being tried in those hospitals. So that is the approach where we're trying to fix the problem ourselves. Then in the traditional Indian culture, there are holy places, people go on a pilgrimage, they pray to a deity for blessings. There are certain places which are designated, this deity will give you blessings and surely you will beget a child. And they do that, they do austerities, all to get blessings. So the approach is solve the problem through blessings. And that actually is it may be looked upon now as primitive and sort of based on superstition and obviously less effective than the scientific modern approach. What will all your blessings do? But actually that is the superior process, the process of blessings. Srila Prabhupada explains that when he was a child in Calcutta, there was a cholera epidemic. And it was quite widespread and people were dying everywhere. And then one man started Harinam Sankirtan. One leader, one public leader started Harinam Sankirtan as the answer to this. And then the whole thing subsided. Well, it's like it's like, sanitize the whole thing, obviously, right? So it's interesting, these two approaches and the success that both have attained. The Western world has emerged as the predominant economic force and therefore for centuries have established themselves and their culture and their outlook as superior, and even although they may not have conquered every corner of the world, although lots of corners, culturally everyone bought into it. It's like in India, the laws in India were following, Indian law was following the laws of Manu up to 1959. And then, only in 1959, 12 years after partition, they adopted British law. All this time, the British were there for such a long time, they never adopted British law. And 12 years after the British left, they accepted it. I mean, you made it, right? You made it. You made it through the whole thing, yeah? Through the British culture, and then 12 years after they leave, accept British law after all. So that means the British didn't leave. They didn't leave. They stayed. Their culture stayed. Yeah, actually, they stayed. See. So not to criticize India. That's not my point. Right? That's not my point. But I'm trying to show how it works. How, in a subtle way, we get influenced. Externally, we may say, no, we have rejected this culture, but actually, deeper under the surface, we have not. And in this way, the entire world has bought into the same culture, the modern culture, as the best solution for all problems. Like in less developed parts of the world, like simple village people, they go to the doctor, and if they don't get an injection, they feel they didn't go to the doctor. They want an injection. Yeah, they must have an injection. It's like, I don't want an injection, whatever, right? I try to avoid it, other things. No injection. But they want, otherwise if you're not, we didn't get the real medicine. So much faith in this system. And with that, the power of blessings look outdated. But ultimately, the power of blessings by far exceed any power. And that basically is what is coming out in this verse, that Hiranyakasipu is really the big material success. The man who, by his own strength and hard labor and his own intelligence, got it all. He had everything one could desire in this world. That's basically him. Success. I mean, these days, Hiranyakasipu would be a hero. He would be a big success story. There would be magazines explaining, the history of Mr. Hiranyakasipu, right? And his success in the world. It's like, he would be one of the big heroes of this time. Because it is said in Bhagwatam, in the age of Kali, we are judging a person's position according to how much money he has, how much wealth he has. Well, Hiranyakasipu had unlimited wealth. And then, that he had a few ladies and this and that. That's normal. Anybody who's rich would have a few. That's okay. When you've got money, you can do these things. Get away with anything. So like that, it is interesting that Srila Prabhupada would speak about Jagai and Madai, who were like degraded personalities at the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Srila Prabhupada says that at that time, 500 years ago, in Navadvip, Jagai and Madai were the exception. They were drunks, they were fighting, they were, just like any average person. Yeah? Prabhupada said, now everyone has become Jagai and Madai. And that's become like normal. Yeah. Have a drink. Yeah. What's the problem with that? Yeah. No big deal. But at that time, it was totally rejected. So, back to the power of blessings as the main theme of this lecture. There are three types of blessings. There are the karma-unmukhi, the moksha-unmukhi, and the bhakti-unmukhi blessings. Karma-unmukhi blessings are good material activities. When you do something good materially, it gives you good karma, and on the material plane. So in the next life you'll get wealth, you'll get good facilities by doing that kind of material welfare work. So that is karma-mukhi. If you are very pious in that regards, do lots of good works, one might even attain the heavenly planets and enjoy them. So, then there is moksha-mukhi sukriti. Moksha-mukhi sukriti is pious activity that leads to liberation. So we have renunciation, austerity, yes, knowledge, cultivating deep knowledge. These kind of pious activities, they are liberating us from material entanglement. And if one engages in a lot in those things, then in the next life, you're sort of easily aloof from so many things. Not so entangled, not so attracted to all those things, because we have piety from these kind of activities. We have, in the last life, we have performed these austerities, we have cultivated detachments, we have cultivated knowledge, and therefore we see deeper. Knowledge basically means to see deeper than the surface. Just like I just mentioned to someone this morning, whenever your mind is attracted to anything, just go for one thing: price tag, price tag, price tag. Right? What's the price tag? Yeah. Everything has a price tag. Like, there is that beauty queen, the most beautiful girl in the world, right? A fair, beautiful maiden. Yes. And she loves you. Oh, you son of a gun. Huh? You're a lucky fellow. Huh? Yeah. Ben, price tag. Look at the price tag. And she's the most beautiful girl in the world, you know. She can get a dozen guys at it for a dime, right? She's gonna be quite demanding. An ordinary house will not do. It will have to be a mansion, at least, you know. You may have to get a degree and a second job at the same time to work for all that. You son of a gun. You see the point? So when we look at the price tag, then it doesn't look as good as it looks at first sight. So knowledge helps us to look deeper at things. What are the consequences of things? Nothing comes alone. Everything has consequences. Everything. Mercedes, there you go. Big bills, whenever it does need a repair. Like that, everything we do has consequences. That's the reason why those in knowledge are attracted to renunciation, because they say, why bother with all these complications? It's good, the enjoyable part is attractive, but the price we have to pay, all the consequences, no, that's not worth it. Then I've got to forget it. And thus, the renunciant is born. Save the headache. And with the hair, and that's why people whose hairs go grey begin to develop a little more interest in renunciation. Because they've tried it. They've tried it all, and they did get all these. They paid the price. And now they think, well, I don't know, it's okay, no thanks, that's all right. So like that, knowledge can come from practical experience in life, and knowledge comes from scripture. So there is moksha mukhi sukriti. But all that, those blessings are certainly helpful. The karmanmukhi. If you grow up in a nice family, it makes a difference. It makes a difference if you have helpful parents who teach you and explain things properly, instead of like, a father who's like, smack him. That doesn't help, right? Or so many other things. So when the family is not completely stable, then, after a while, one develops a few mental issues, and that can stay with us for the whole life. So some good karma is, in terms of a living situation, a family situation, is very helpful. One who has good karma will get good parents, will get a good situation, a good upbringing, stable family, It's been, when your father dies when you're 11, bad karma, or bad karma. And then there you are, right? And it turns the whole thing, your whole life upside down. Something like that creates a huge mess. Father died when I was 11. Yeah, and that meant suddenly we had no money, suddenly we had to move to a smaller house, suddenly, Mom, we never saw her again, right? Because she was working and working and working and working. All right, paint the picture yourself. So like this, we see that it all has value. It's a blessing. to have some good karma. It is a blessing to be detached. It saves you a lot of trouble. It's a shortcut. You don't have to go through all these things. I don't need to go through all that. I can understand it like that. So such piety is all valuable. But then we come to Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti, the blessings of Bhakti. And the blessings of Bhakti are amazing. They are amazing because the blessings of Bhakti naturally make us take to Krishna so easily. I was in Germany sharing a room with Bhakti Bhushan Swami. And Bhakti Bhushan Swami is a devotee who joined this movement in its very early stages in Germany, at the very beginning. Because basically what happened was Krishna consciousness started in America and then it came to Europe, and the devotees first, there was one devotee named Shivananda. He first went to Amsterdam, but he couldn't find a place to stay. Should have asked me. I would have let him stay. But anyway, couldn't find a place to stay, and went to Germany. And then in Germany, he started all by himself, kirtan on the street with some kartals. That was all. He had some kartals, and he had a few Back to Godhead magazines that he had brought from America. So he played kartals, and his boy came, and he was interested, and he took a magazine. He read the magazine, and the next day he came back, and he joined, and he became Bhakti Bhushan Swami. How can you join a private magazine? How can you do it? Now come on, I could never do that, you know. I didn't get involved in that way. I read the books. That makes sense. That makes sense. Then I looked at Hare Krishnas, but those guys, oh my God, they look too far out. I don't want my name connected to them. I didn't even want to show people that I was too much interested in the Bhagavad Gita, because in case they might think I'm connected with those extraterrestrials. I didn't want to be seen with anybody who was connected to them, but to speak to them directly. It's careful. But anyway, gradually it happened. But here is a person, the first day, he gets a magazine, he reads it, and he just joins. I asked him, I said, Maharaj, tell me, how could you do that? How could you just join? He said, I've always been like that. When I was convinced that something was true, I just did it. This is Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti. See, this is piety in devotional service in last life. Therefore, immediately he knew it. This is it. There was no doubt. He just did it. But when we're impious, like in my case, you know, like you think, well, I don't know, I'm not sure. Then we first have to dice and slice and mentally analyze and think, well, and weigh all the consequences. But if I do this, what will happen to my life? And in this way, it can take a long time. I'm comfortable where I am. Do I really want to give that up? I'm not so sure about all that and such thoughts. That kept me back. But then we see previous devotional service gives us that conviction. Therefore, the power of blessings is that we have a natural, we recognize the truth in the next life. We recognize the truth. Immediately, we recognize it. We get lifted above our small-mindedness. Small-mindedness, ksutratma. And it says that Prahlad, here it is mentioned, was very broad-minded. A devotee becomes very broad-minded because Srila Prabhupada explains in the introduction to the Chaitanya Charitamrita that spiritual life is like taking off in a plane, and as you go up, all the things you're leaving behind, they become small. So it's like that. All the material things we leave behind, they become small as we go up in devotional service. So like this, all those things that were so important lose their importance. They lose their importance. And all those, that little small world, my thing, what is the meaning? Srila Prabhupada, one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, when he took initiation, he gave dakshin, and he gave Prabhupada a baby blanket. And Prabhupada said, "What is this? What is this? This is my dakshin. It is the most valuable thing I have. It is the blanket I had when I was a baby. And I've always kept it. My most treasured possession." Okay, Prabhupada accepted it. And the next day, Prabhupada had found a purpose for it. He engaged it and used it as a seat, so people could sit on it. So it was very nice. Right? So we bring all kinds of things with us from material life in our hand luggage. Not everyone may bring his baby blanket, but whatever we bring, something we bring from our past life. But gradually it all becomes small and insignificant, all those things. This devotee gave up his baby blanket after meeting Prabhupada. He grew up instantly. So yes, that is very nice. So the power of blessings. So Prabhupada accepted his gift. Not only did he accept his gift from "thank you very much" and then think this is useless and then threw it in the bin. No. He really accepted it and also used it as a seed. There's another story where Prabhupada went to a program, and in this program there was also a Mayavadi speaker. It was one of these big public programs, and not an Iskcon program, but we were part of this big public program, different speakers, a Mayavadi speaker. So the Mayavadi came to Srila Prabhupada and gave him a brochure of his mission, one of these glossy brochures, threefold up thing, And Prabhupada looked at it, and then the man said, and Prabhupada said, "Oh yes, very nice." And the man said, "Yes, it's nice, isn't it? You like it? I'll give you a whole box." And he gave Prabhupada a whole box. So Prabhupada said, "Oh, to the devotees, please keep this box." So the devotees kept the box. And then on the next Sunday, Prabhupada asked the devotees, "Do we have that box?" Yes. "Can you bring that box?" Yes, they brought the box. Then Prabhupada said, "Distribute the brochures." So everyone on the Sunday feast got a brochure, a Mayavadi brochure. So everyone is like, "What's happening? Prabhupada is distributing Mayavadi brochures, but yeah, that's totally in contradiction with what he's preaching. What is he doing?" And then Prabhupada said, "So, everyone got a brochure?" Yes, the audience said. Prabhupada said, "Okay, now take your brochure, open it up, and put it in front of you on the floor." And then Prabhupada asked the devotees to serve prasadam on those brochures. In this way, he engaged this Mayavadi really in devotional service. Prabhupada first of all accepted the gift, then he engaged his brochure in devotional service, and in this way created his bhakti or mukhi sukriti. And in the next life, Surely a devotee. Finished. Mayavad. Finished. No more. Just see. So, many times we wonder how to preach. How do we preach to these people? They're not interested. Nobody is interested. Nobody. No, they don't want. We try. We try. Anybody home?
Yeah. Jack, there's a bloke at the door. What does he want? What do you want?
Book.
Jack, he's got a book.
Books, you know what I mean?
Tell him to get out of here. Get out. He says to get out of here.
Right? I mean, commission houses, I have done that. I have experience. I came to one door, and a lady with red hair opened the door, and she started immediately. There was not even any conversation with Jack. She just started immediately.
Get out! Get out! Get out!
So I kind of looked over my shoulder to see if a dog would have walked into the garden behind me or something, because I thought, I haven't even spoken to her. She doesn't really know what I come from. Maybe I'm bringing her a check, you know. Yeah? What does she know, right? So it didn't make sense that she barked at me without my speaking, but she did. Get out, get out, get out. So I looked, there was no dog. And then she said,
Yes, you! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out!
like one of these little dogs, you know. So I said, all right, cool it, lady, cool it, you know. I'm leaving, don't worry. So I came out. Then there was a man, and he had a big American car with a statue on the bonnet, and he was polishing it. And he was sitting on his knees polishing the car. And he goes and he says, I'll never bow down. You understand? I'll never bow down. I'll never bow down. And I said, yes you are. You're bowing down to your car. Yeah, he was bowing down to his car. He was obviously the husband of the lady with the red hair. It was a good match, that's for sure. So, what to say? The impiety is there. But somehow or other, how to preach? That is the question. How to preach? People don't take it. Then what we do, Agyata Sukriti. Unknown spiritual benefit. That's why there was Harinam. That's why the devotees would go out on Harinam practically in the beginning every day. Because the holy name creates that unknown spiritual benefit. Agyata Sukriti. Everyone gets it. They get purified. Prasadam. Harinam. And in this way, the Agyata Sukriti, the unknown spiritual benefit, and then after that, suddenly, oh yes, people will be very interested. So this is how to preach. When people don't take it, then we need to create more Agyata Sukriti. And that's why we have to go out from the temple. That's why we can't just wait for people to come, because they don't have the piety. They don't come. They don't have it. We first have to create the piety. Like Srila Prabhupada said, I created your pious activities. So therefore, Prabhupada went out. He went to Tompkins Square Park and started public chanting. And in this way, created the Agyata Sukriti. People, just like when you are distributing books, can be very difficult. Very difficult. No. Not interested. Thank you. No. Leave me alone. Back off. No. All this negativity. No. after 100 no's, oh God, it starts, a little drizzle starts. And oh God, it's a miserable day. It's depressing. But the people that say no today, well, you know how the mind works. Somebody offers you something, and you say no. But in the mind, you think, what is it anyway? What is it? No, I don't want that. I don't want that. But the no-sayers, each time, the mind is a little bit like, for a moment, kind of, what has he got? Nah, book, no, don't want that, no. And then one day he thinks, what's that anyway? And sometimes you have these people, they come out of nowhere on the street and they say, can I have one of these books? They've already said no 100 times and became purified by the association. So they got Agyata Sukriti. So this Agyata Sukriti is required before people can take. So therefore, now looking back to our own situation, and that is my closing remark, now looking at our own situation, we're in the same boat. Although we are here, we're only half here. Half is here, the body, but the mind is only partially here. The mind is sometimes thinking of what it would be like if we would be doing something else. If we would be living a material life. And sometimes in our mind, there's this beauty queen walking in the street and you see yourself walking hand in hand down the street with her. In the mind. But the mind is giving these things. We're out on Harinam, in Pitt Street, window shopping. Hare Krishna. I'll go back later. It's not that we're all that pure, you know what I mean? Half of us is still out there. Therefore, we need all the blessings we can get. All the blessings we can get. Therefore, especially once we're trying to become a devotee, we become very careful to collect all the blessings that we can get. Of the Vaishnavas, of the deities, of the places, the holy places, wherever we can get the blessings. We take blessing of service, blessings, blessings, blessings. Get small blessings, keys and blessings. Your blessings of your life. So we want blessings. With that, I'll end. Any questions or comments?
Maharaj, in terms of renunciation, it's easy for us because, as you said, we're half and half, so we're still attached to something. So, but I just want to know how does Prabhupada, though he's such a pure devotee, he's totally renounced from the material world, but still he was taking care of the devotees and attached to their improvement and stuff, and also small details. How does he do it?
Renunciation, there are two types of renunciation. Falgu Vairagya and Yukta Vairagya. You know, Falgu Vairagya, I once went to Gaya, and there you have the Falguna river. So, you know, it was hot. I thought, oh yes, let me go to the river. I came to the river, no water. Oh. But people said, no, this is an underground river. You dig 1 foot and there will be water. And I did, and yes, there was water. Just see, Falgu Vairagya. So this kind of renunciation of giving up, I'm giving up sweets. It's Kartik, my month. I have made big vow. No sweets at all. Nothing, not 1 grain of sugar for Kartik, no. I'm very renounced. Oh, you are a big yogi. But I am sure that the day after Kartik, You're going to eat a pile of sweets that make up for the whole month. Because under the surface, the desire for sugar is just that sugar. Sugar, sugar, sugar. Sweet. Rasagulla. Cake, cream, Australian cheesecake, Australia, ice cream, ladu, ladu. So like this, this is Falgu Vairagya. So to just give up things is Falgu Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya means we use everything, but we change the purpose of it. Use the knife, but not to kill someone, but to save a life. Use anything for Krishna. So that's the higher type of Vairagya, Yukta Vairagya. So we don't need to go live in a cave or in the forest. We can stay here, downtown. But chant Hare Krishna, serve Krishna. And then the purpose of things have changed. Yukta Vairagya. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandha. Yukta Vairagya Uchita. Take the material things, use them for Krishna. Because there are limits. I saw this big 4-wheel drive and it had a number plate, for you Krishna. And I go, yeah, sure. Yeah. I wasn't convinced. It's not so easy. Right? But if you really use things in the service of Krishna, yes, then the same things that were entangling us will then purify us. The same things. If you use that computer or that phone for the service of Krishna, and you get a Krishna conscious dial tone, then you automatically remember Krishna. Yeah.
Sure. What you were saying about taking blessings?
Taking blessings,
As
yeah.
much as you can. So my question was that sometimes we find ourselves in a situation to ask for the blessings from the person who I might not be very inspired of. Like I might not be very inspired by that person, but still I should take the blessings. So for the sake of taking the blessings, I'm taking the blessings. So is that a...
For the sake of the blessings, I'm taking the blessings. I don't really want your blessings. According to the book I have to have, so I'm taking them. Please give me your blessings. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Why should you give me them? Yeah, we have to become very generous in our minds. So we see, we get a dilemma like this and we encounter that. We should be generous in seeing good qualities in every devotee. If we see good qualities in every devotee, understand that every devotee is making a sacrifice. Everyone. And no one gets it for nothing. You don't get it for nothing, I don't get it for nothing, nobody gets it for nothing. So everyone is making a sacrifice. Just try and find the sacrifice someone is making. And as soon as you see, oh, this person is making a sacrifice, then you can have some genuine appreciation for the person. And then it's easier to kind of start respecting them. So yes, here's a Vaishnava, I need the blessings. Prabhu, please give me the blessings. Just like Srila Prabhupada said, and sometimes when they asked him how many disciples you have, he said, I don't have any disciples. Krishna sent me many spiritual masters. So how can Prabhupada see all these devotees like a spiritual master? There's a famous purport where Prabhupada it is about Dhruva Maharaj going back to Godhead, and this Vaikuntha plane comes and is about to take Dhruva Maharaj and about to take off, and then Dhruva is thinking, wait a minute, how can I go? What about my mother? She is the one who initially instructed me to go on the spiritual path. So it's all her credit. She should also go. Then he sees that his mother is in another Vaikuntha plane and also going. Yeah? So it's like, and Srila Prabhupada says, yes, in the same way, I hope that one day one of my disciples will become a pure devotee of the Lord and in this way deliver me from the cycle of birth and death. So how could Prabhupada see like that? How could he see like that? How can he write like that? Such humility. One more story. In Amsterdam, there was the installation of the temple and everything went wrong. It wasn't organized very well. It was a mess. I won't get into the details this time because it's getting late. It was a mess. So Prabhupada was disturbed. Nothing was right. The deities weren't taken care of. The TV was there. They were filming it. Still trying to get that film, but haven't found it. They were filming it. And Prabhupada was upset. He was angry. The Hare Krishna Guru was angry in front of everyone. So, okay, after that Prabhupada gave a talk and he was still upset that things were not properly arranged. So finally, at one point in the lecture, one boy raises his hand. Prabhupada said, yes. He said, why are you so angry? The boy says, just chant Hare Krishna. And Prabhupada took his beads and started chanting Hare Krishna. So just see. That boy, of course, was nobody special and he himself had his issues and that. But what he said was a blessing, so Prabhupada took it. Oh yes. Yes, he's right. Hare Krishna, chant Hare Krishna. So just see, when in the dilemma that we have, we get confronted with our own lack of recognizing the glories of the Vaishnavas, and therefore we find it difficult to accept blessings from them. Anyway, we're all working on it. Yes, last question and then I have to go.
Thank you for the class, Maharaj. This is a question from Mayapur TV. Tita Prabhu is asking.
Mayapur TV.
Yeah, he's saying that Maharaj, our mind is polluted, that we always like to see bad quality in other people. How to modify our mind to see good qualities in other people?
Yeah, there are many things to do. It's not that there's one thing, it's many things, it's a package. First of all, as long as we're proud, it's difficult. To curb pride, all we have to do is be honest. Because when we're honest, do you make mistakes? Yes. More than one a day, actually, all the time. Alright, so that's a good beginning. And then we can see, through honesty we can see that actually we have many limitations. Therefore honesty leads to humility. So that's the beginning. That helps. Begin with humility. What was the question again?
He wants to know that we always see bad quality in his others.
Bad qualities in others. Yes. So there was a little book and it described a manager. And this manager was revolutionary. Because instead of doing what most managers do, what most supervisors do, supervisors catch people doing wrong. They're watching. How many times have I told you that the standard in this office is? Yes, sir. Of course, yes. No, I understand. Yes, I'm sorry. Somehow a slip, but don't let it happen again. Kind of catching someone doing something wrong. This manager was different. He was trying to catch people doing something right. Wasn't easy. And like, you know, but then when he caught someone doing something right, he would just glorify him and say, yes, you did that very nice. That is Vaishnava. A Vaishnava should try to catch someone to doing something right. So just, even if the mind goes on, oh gosh, here's so-and-so, I know him very well. Catch him doing something right. And then that becomes a habit, gradually. We begin to glorify Krishna. Everyone? Because glorification should not just be random, it should be real. We should find a quality in someone and then glorify the person for that quality. In Radha, they have a session once a year where the glorification session, and it goes like 6-7 hours, you know, and everybody glorifies everybody, all the devotees, for 6-7 hours. But it works, it's powerful. It's like, it's intense for the back and so on, but after 6-7 hours of glorification, the relationships really have improved. They really improve. It's like, so try that. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada.
Holiness Kadamba Kanana Swami Maharaj ki.
Jai.